Yeah, good to go. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you here today. And I'm going to be speaking about uh, customer experience marketing and how important this is for us today. Uh, Laureen, there is this screen which has popped up here. Is that normal?
What does it say on the screen?
Is the voice loud and clear?
Oh, that's actually a survey for our attendees. Just go ahead and close that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. I'm just trying to close it. Just a minute. Okay,
Or you
there we
could
go.
just select
Yeah,
it.
done. Okay, excellent. Okay, so we're going to be talking today about customer experience marketing and how relevant it is for each one of us today, as well as for our consumers. So, as we all know, we are going through extremely unprecedented times. And with the pandemic that the world is going through, there is a lot of concern. People are very cautious. We have seen huge shift in consumer behavior in terms of the channels that they'd like to interact in. And we have seen some of these shifts happen just exponentially, where organizations have tried to do digital transformations over years. We have seen, whole companies wholeheartedly getting on the bandwagon to move to digital because their customers want to interact digitally and want to interact in a way without losing the human touch. So even the most laggard segments, the segments of our customer bases who were not very enthusiastic about interacting online, like the older generation, like small and medium enterprises, which have taken a very long time to come online, we have seen these segments just go ahead and want to adopt digital interactions. And therefore, the need for a fantastic customer experience, keeping in mind this entire scenario, becomes extremely important. So I want to take the opportunity to have you look at what happens in 60 seconds on the internet, right? How was it in 2019 and what changed in 2020? And there has been just humongous change. Though you see a lot of different matrices here, in terms of people logging into Facebook, number of texts sent, I want to draw your attention to about 3 different interactions that have just quadrupled. So first, let's look at messaging, right? And this is both messaging on Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. And this percentage in 60 seconds from 2019 to 2020 has jumped by 44%, where it was 41.6 million messages being sent in a second. Today, in 2020, we see that having jumped to 59 million. The other one is if you look at people scrolling on Instagram, this has doubled. So it is 100% increase from 2019 to 2020, 347,000 plus in 2019, and that has jumped to 694,000 in 60 seconds, right? If you look at number of people tweeting, so people want to be heard, right? And they want to express themselves. So you have just this humongous number of people who have gone onto Twitter and are tweeting every 60 seconds. And we've seen 122% jump from 87,500 people tweeting in 60 seconds last year. That has jumped up to 194,444 people tweeting. So on every digital channel, and I'm not going to go into each one of them, but you get the idea. This is a huge shift in consumer behavior, in the way we interact, in the way we live, in the way we work, in the way we play, right? While we talk about all these things, I want to bring us back to, because we're talking about customer experience marketing, right? So customer at the heart of the business. While we have given this a lot of lip service for a while, I think this becomes, and there, to be fair, there have been quantum leaps in the way we look at our businesses and how relevant we try and keep our experiences for our customers. But now, given the situation that we are in at the time of the pandemic, this becomes even more important. You're dealing with a customer who is afraid, who is worried, who is concerned. And it becomes very, very more important to ensure we have an understanding of where the customer is at, what are their motivations, what are the level of emotions. So understanding the customer, who's your customer? What makes them tick? What is important for them? How can I come across as someone who is caring, and not just from a perception, but genuinely, because customers are smart people. We're all customers, right? We can see through where things are not genuine. Then within your customer base, how are you differentiating between customers? There could be customers with different needs depending on their demographic, depending on their digital savviness. And this is what we call segmentation. So are we doing a good job of understanding that and segmenting? The next area is engagement. So we just had a sneak peek into the kind of channels that people are dealing with, apart from, of course, physical channels, but physical channels people are trying to avoid to the extent possible. But even that, how do you make it foolproof from the customer's perspective? If it is me ordering a Japanese bento set online, how am I asking for a contactless delivery? And the person just helps to deliver while my entire purchase journey is online. It's on my phone or it's on a tablet. How are we ensuring that I can choose a contactless delivery and the happy, gentle, kind delivery person leaves a note for me with my delivery pack saying, enjoy your meal. Listening to our customers. This has become even more relevant today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this as we go in later, because while we have had e-commerce experiences and experiences provided by financial services companies, with people now looking more at pure digital experiences, the intuitiveness, the quality of these experiences definitely needs to be pulled up a notch, especially when dealing with bots. Now you're dealing with human beings. You're dealing with human beings who need tender, loving care, who need assistance. And it's not going to cut it to have, just a set of FAQ questions. You need to be able to personalize and respond effectively. So listening to customers, extremely important. Servicing. How are we ensuring that we take care of customer service end to end across these channels, right? And how, as organizations, are we ensuring that it's not just my app that I need to be on and ask the customer to come on to my app? How am I ensuring, or how are we as business leaders ensuring that we are where the customer is? If the customer is on Facebook, am I on Facebook? If the customer is on Instagram, am I on Instagram? So that it just makes it easier for the customer to connect with us and to be able to access our services conveniently. Last but not the least, measure. You can only improve something once you're measuring it. So measurement of our experiences, of the feedback that we're getting from our customers, extremely, extremely important. So we'll keep this at the back of our minds as we go into all the other aspects that I'd like to cover today. Now, I want to take the opportunity to take you through areas of focus as far as customer experience marketing is concerned in 2020. Now, some of these areas have also existed in 2019, but have just seen an acceleration in 2020. And this is one of them. So this is the mobile first organization-wide approach, right? We have seen, just as an example, while this is very relevant to financial services also, just on the retail channels, we have seen an increase in people shopping online, and both you and me are aware of that as well. We are going and consuming more than we earlier did, where we would walk into a physical store. We are choosing to go and buy online. So this has definitely been a shift in 2020. Not to forget, we have 2.5 billion smartphones in Asia. So being on the mobile phone, you being relevant to your consumer on the mobile phone, extremely important. And this is different from, just having a presence on mobile. This is about making sure that you have the end-to-end customer journey on the mobile phone. And I'll give you an example to make it more relevant from an insurance company or a bank standpoint, given that I'm an ex-banker and have been in financial services for a long time. So when you talk about the entire customer journey, starting from purchase, which means content, the right kind of content which can answer my questions as I'm surfing through on the mobile. when I go in to make a purchase, the onboarding process, ensuring that that is effectively fine-tuned for a mobile experience, which is different from a desktop experience. The third thing is, once I get onboarded, how are we ensuring as an organization that my servicing is effective on the mobile phone, right? On the mobile app. It could even be a browser experience, that's fine. But am I making sure that my customer can effectively make service inquiries and get responses to those inquiries online, on the phone? Am I making sure that if my customer would like to make a claim from an insurance company as an insurer, that my claims process is extremely simplistic and extremely relevant? I'm asking for limited amount of information. All the experience design principles come in mind. If it is a customer, don't ask for the same information twice. I know who you are. You are my customer. I know your date of birth. I know your social security number, or NRIC as we call it in Singapore. I am only going to ask you things which are specific and relevant to your requirement right now. Also importantly, loyalty. How am I ensuring that I am providing you with a rewards platform, with an engagement platform on the mobile phone? So looking at the entire end-to-end delivery, so your entire organization's got to be thinking mobile first, apart from desktop. That's a given, right? And I would add to this additionally, like I did mention, how do I ensure that I, as in me and my team, how do we ensure that as an organization, we are providing all the services, prospecting, onboarding to our customers across the channels, not only channels which I provide, my mobile app, my web browser, but also how are we engaging with customer in the channels which they are happy to interact in, on Facebook, on Instagram. So I think this has become extremely relevant. Would be good to keep it in mind. The next area of focus is, while we talk about omnichannel experiences, and frankly, we have been talking about omnichannel experiences for a long time, right, across industries. While that still remains relevant, we all know the physical aspect of it. Right now, people are wary. That could change. We know that the pandemic is not going to be here forever. But when we say omnichannel, it does not mean only online to offline or offline to online. Online as well, there are multiple digital channels that I can traverse in as a customer. But there are also customers who are looking for purely end-to-end digital experiences. And this is now, it's a non-negotiable expectation, right? If as organizations, we don't look into this, we're just kidding ourselves, and our customers are happily walking or browsing onto our competitors' websites. As you can see here, I have put in some stats. Omnichannel experiences clearly, they're breaking the roof as far as customer retention is concerned, as against only companies which are focused on specific multi-channel experiences. Now, just very quickly, let's look at an omni-channel experience. I'll articulate this for you. Let's say I'm on Facebook, right? I'm scrolling my Facebook feed. I get hit by an ad for, let's say, goggles. And I really like the goggles I see. I click on the ad and I get taken onto the website of the goggle manufacturer, whose product it is. I look at their product specifications. I'm able to see the product reviews by other customers. And I'm just about to make my purchase, but I get distracted. There's a call on my phone and I don't complete the purchase. Now, when that happens, the purchase is forgotten. I've moved on to something else. And in about 1 or 2 days, I get an email from this company reminding me that I had a purchase which was not completed, and they are offering me a sweetener. Would I like a discount? And they'll be happy to offer me free shipping. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a fantastic offer. I'm going to take it up. So I go in and I complete my purchase. So I have moved across channels, as you can see. Additionally, if the company is smart, they will also, subsequently in my Facebook feed, since they've seen that this works with this customer, they will offer me possibly, adjacent kind of products, which I might like to try. Now, I'm going to show you an example of an omni-channel experience for one of my favorite companies, which is Tesla. So I'm going to play this video for you. And this is about how Tesla has proven to be a truly omni-channel company. Let me start this off for you, just a minute. Okay.
If you want a great example of omni-channel, you have to look at Tesla. Now, nobody thinks of Tesla as being omni-channel. They don't. But let me walk you through what can happen at Tesla in an omni-channel situation. So somebody's interested in rockets, right? And they're searching rockets and they come across Elon Musk and SpaceX, okay? And so they start following Elon on Twitter. Oh, and then he's tweeting about Tesla. And then they're on vacation somewhere and they're walking down the retail street somewhere and they see a Tesla store. I go, oh yeah, I remember Tesla and Elon. So then they go home and they jump on the web and they look up Tesla and they see the Tesla on the car and say, well, geez, I'd like a test drive, and they push a button. So now they've interacted with online or with social media and they've seen a store. They haven't been in, and then they've gone on the web and somebody calls them from the call center. It says, hi, so you want to take a test drive? Let's send you over to the store. So then you go to a store and you do a test drive, okay? And then you decide, gee, I'd like to buy my car. So what do? You go back to the web, whether you're in the store or you're at home or you're in a hotel with a web connection, you go on and you order your car online. So now you're connected to the web. Now you do all your paperwork online, you pay and you do banking online, and you pay for your car, and then you get a call, and then they send you to the service center. And then you go to the service center and then you pick up your car. And then you unlock your car with your phone. So you have an app on your phone, the Tesla app. And when you walk up to the car with your phone, the door unlocks and then you get in. And then you start interacting with over-the-air updates. And geez, when I bought my car, I didn't buy enhanced autopilot, but it's on my screen here. And there's a button here on the screen of my car and it says order. So I push the button on the car and up comes a thing and I put in my credit card. And the car becomes a revenue generator because I want enhanced autopilot. And I do it on the car. And then I get an over-the-air update from some centralized location on a Tuesday morning at midnight. And I get up in the morning on Wednesday and my car is a different car. I've got new features in my car that I didn't have before. So, and then what I do is, this is really awesome. So I start following Tesla, which brings me back to Elon. So I've interacted with social media, I've interacted with a call center, I've interacted with the store, I've interacted with a service center, I've interacted with the car.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you a brief glimpse of how Tesla does omni-channel experiences, which is pretty cool. So now, what we will do is we will take the opportunity to look at a few more areas of focus. And I'd like to talk about, there has been a huge focus on customer data centralization for a while, right? In starting all the way from 2015, while the retail industry did that quicker, financial services has also caught up. But now we have moved on from data centralization. And this is being able to collect data and insights from the multiple channels that your customers are interacting in, and to be able to make sense of it, to provide fantastic experiences that help you market. And I just want to make one distinction very clear. We cannot be looking at marketing as separate from customer experience, right? Customer marketing is just a means to be able to interact with your customer or with your prospect, right? But throughout this interaction, the way in which you interact with the customer, the content you provide, the channel on which you have this engagement, how intuitive your experience is, how valuable and relevant and memorable your experience is for the customer are extremely important. So in my mind, there is no distinction. Customer experience marketing is all about customer experience, right? And making the right offers, the relevant offers, keeping them engaged, going beyond what your company offers as a standard set of products. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So when we say going beyond customer data centralization, one of the examples I'm talking about is companies are now using artificial intelligence for individualized customer experiences. And when I was leading customer experience and digital channels at Prudential, one of the initiatives that we had launched was using AI to make the next best offer for our customers as a cross-sell product. And we went in and did quite a bit of micro segmentation. And what that meant was really understanding the demographics of our customers. There were, we went into micro segments. I'll give you some examples. There were price conscious moms. There were savvy dads. There was prudent mature couples, So you had a mix of people who were single, who did not have children. There were others who were more along the curve as far as their careers were concerned. They had children, but they also had elderly parents whom they needed to look after. So there were varying needs and requirements. So using a very, very detailed understanding of these micro segments, which we used not only our own customer data, but we also then pulled in external sources of data to make sure we were providing these customers with then relevant kind of offers as their next best offer for a cross-sell. And we found very, very good results. Of course, it's marketing, it's customer experience. There is always the need for constant optimization. And you're constantly learning as you're going ahead with these interactions, engagements, and you see how your customers are interacting with you. And I'll talk about customer insights on the next slide, which is very, very important to the implementation of any one of these. The next one I'd like to mention is enabling a human experience through bots and virtual assistants. While this has been there, for a long, long time, to be frank, I think very, very few companies have really been able to do a fantastic job of one is enabling a human experience in interaction with a virtual assistant, and the other is ensuring that the experience is personalized. And very few companies have been able to leverage natural language processing. A lot of companies will give you, a standard set of FAQs, and no matter what you ask, there is a standard response, which is not very helpful, right? And especially when customers are now going on and expecting pure digital experiences. When I want customer service, and I've been using a lot of e-commerce sites myself, and the experience in terms of service, when a product of mine hasn't been delivered on time, that interaction through virtual chatbots hasn't been very great. And I think this is where I say that, some of the best e-commerce sites have struggled with this in 2020. And I'm sure they are looking to further optimize. But at the same time, let us not forget, we are dealing with human beings. And when you're trying to totally take away a human interaction, as in you don't want a person interacting, but it is a machine which is responding, we cannot miss out the human element. And I think that's very important for us all in the organizations we work for, to ensure we're providing that to our customers. Now, the other one I want to talk about is, because these experiences are predominantly digital, how do we help our customers immerse themselves to be able to understand how this product actually makes sense to them? So leveraging augmented reality, and I love this ad by, it's not just an ad, it's Ikea's The Place, which is a very, very personalized experience they help the customer have in terms of furniture that they'd like to buy. And they help them be able to place that furniture virtually in their own drawing rooms to be able to see if it matches the color, if it matches the placement. And let's have a quick watch. Just give me a second.
Hey, Ikea would like everyone to know about Place, our new augmented reality app. Built on Apple's new AR kit, you can easily place true to scale 3D models of Ikea furniture in your place. Scan, browse, select, move, and place. So that could mean less of this, and less of this, and probably more of this. We want to make it easier for people everywhere to imagine a better place. Share this place and this place. Try place in your place.
Yeah, so that was the IKEA experience. And I'm sure you get the gist. The intention is to be able to immerse the customer. So if I liked a sofa set and I liked the color combo, and I was able to place it in my drawing room, and I said, hey, this would fit fantastically, that just helps me go ahead and not delay the purchase anymore. I'd like to just go ahead and make the transaction. I just want to give you one other example, just to help open the mind. And this is the virtual artist experience. So let's see if this comes up, or yes, it should, by Sephora. They've also done a good job. Oops, sorry. Okay. So that was the Sephora experience as well. I don't know if you noticed, apart from, of course, helping the customer totally immerse herself into the products that they offer, the look that it helps me create for myself, they also let you share your look on different social media platforms. So just a fantastic way for the customer to engage. Now, I had spoken, a little bit about insights and feedback, and I'd like to dive in a little bit more, because this is extremely, extremely important. When I was working at Prudential, we had set up a customer community, which was an online community, and we, while we had 1 million+ customers here in Singapore, we reached out to our customer base, and we asked our customers, those of them who would want to be involved in providing us with feedback on our products, on our digital experiences that we were implementing, about whether they would like to volunteer to be a part of our insights community. And that's what we called it. And what that meant was that as we were in the process of developing products, we would start with the customer, rather than just functions internally, rather than just it being sales and distribution and marketing, or the product team, sitting in a vacuum and creating products. It would be them at the center of our product creation, at the center of our experience creation. And that worked very well. I think we got about 10,000 customers on the platform whom we could reach out to for different initiatives. Of course, there were focus groups as well, but you can still have virtual focus groups apart from surveys. And this really helped us in reducing our turnaround time for our creation of products and launch of products. The feedback that we got from our customers was truly, truly agile, because we could put out questions and we would get responses. And where this took us earlier, it would take us 3 to 4 months to turn around insights and create products. We were able to get insights back in 8 to 10 hours, which was a huge reduction in the turnaround time of product creation. And when you bring customers in or take them through a prototype, you have the ability to observe how the customer is behaving, is there confusion as they're going through a flow, and also interact with them. If they stopped at a particular place or they dropped off, why did they drop off? How can we make that experience better? So I cannot, push this strongly enough. This is extremely important for any marketer, any customer experience leader, any product leader, to ensure that we have the customer right at the center of, our marketing, our product generation, and so on. Okay, and this is, I think this sums up absolutely. Our highest priority is satisfying our customers, except when it's hard. Sorry, it doesn't work anymore, or unprofitable, or we are busy. Sorry. Yeah, any of these things happen, your customer is walking out of your door, out of your website, out of your app to your competitor. So you always make the time, always. This is just, a little bit of a recap. So differentiated marketing through segmentation, we talked about this. Who's your customer? What makes them tick? It's about propositions. It's not about pushing a product. It's about the experience. It's not about the fact that, buy, a life insurance plan from me. No, it's about what are the benefits to you as a customer. First of all, sorry, even backtracking further, what are your needs? What do you want? What stage of life are you at? And then based on your needs, let's look at what is a proposition we can provide for you. Because the proposition that I might need could be different from the proposition you need. Advice and value-added services is a differentiator. And I'll give you one example of value-added services. And when we talk about value-added services, this is going beyond the traditional product set that organizations have to offer. So if you're looking at, very interestingly, not just insurers, even banks. So OCBC has launched this recently, and so has Prudential, as well as Allianz are now looking at telemedicine, which is virtual medicine, which is being able to provide your customers as financial services providers the ability to have a teleconsultation, which means me being able to contact a doctor online, be able to get a prescription based on, of course, if there is the need, if the doctor feels, no, you absolutely need to come in for a physical consultation, then that can happen as well. And, the appointment can be at a time of your choosing. But there are cases which don't necessarily need a physical doctor's appointment. Also, the ability to get a medical certificate online and a prescription. And we now have financial institutions which have gone all the way through end to end, where you can place your prescription and say that, hey, can the nearest pharmacy provide me with this set of medication? And the financial services provider has partnerships in their ecosystem that then enable someone to pick up the drugs or medication and deliver them to your doorstep. And this is what I call value-added services. Actually, in the Sephora ad as well, while Sephora is, marketing its products, they also enable the customer to be able to try the product on, also give you tutorials on how to do makeup. Now, this is a value-added service. I'm telling you how you can look your best with the products we provide. And could even be, tips on fitness, on health, on just looking great and having a positive mindset. So making the experience count. And of course, being very aware of the channel of choice. And this is how you're ensuring loyalty, because you're providing more than just your standard set of products. And that's how you stand out as far as the customer is concerned. And it's, wow, like if I had the pharmacist delivering drugs to me based on medication rather to me based on a teleconsult I had, I would think that's a pretty good experience. But these do become default and baseline after some time. So we have to constantly keep thinking. And last but not the least, so engaging the customer across their entire life cycle. It's not about hammering the customer with messages, right? Let's be clear. That's one of the worst ways to put your customers off. Messaging has to be relevant. It has to be contextual. The experience associated with that has to be personalized. Goes back to who's my customer? What are their goals? How do we ensure that the experiences are omnichannel? They are across channels, just having respect for the fact that customers today do traverse channels, and it's not just single channel experiences. And of course, to do that, you leverage data, you leverage AI, and constant optimization. So that is the end of my presentation, and it was a pleasure sharing it with you. Over to you, Laureen.
All right, and I'm back. So if you guys have any questions for Namrata here, just go ahead and leave them in the Q&A box. It's right beneath your screen. Click that, a pop-up should come out. Type in your question and leave us your name, and we'll get right to it. Now, in the meantime, Namrata, I wanted to ask you something. Now, you talked about personalization and the human experience a lot in your presentation. So I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, why do you think that is something that a lot of us just tend to overlook so much?
I think, so there has been a traditional mindset in organizations, and change is difficult, right? Change is difficult. That is just human nature. We resist change. And that the good thing is that is changing now, right? Because when you end up losing your customers and your revenue margins aren't making the cut, you're answerable. So historically, I would say this has been because of siloed mindsets, right? Different functions in an organization are just happy working the way they have always worked. The sales team has its own construct, marketing has its own construct, customer experience, which is relatively new, but so does the product team. And getting this mindset to change and this culture to evolve, which I think thankfully now a lot of organizations and a lot of people are getting it. It is happening. It is happening slowly but surely. And I think the experience that we are going through now is accelerating it. But at the same time, there are organizations that have legacy systems, Technology is important to be able to bring experiences to life. And some changes require a lot of push, require a lot of effort, require you to put in a business case to say, hey, when I put in, X million dollars to revamp this technology system, this is the revenue you're going to get. And all this requires passion. It requires people who really get it and say, yes, we'll make this change happen. And the good thing is more and more people are coming on the bandwagon.
All right, that's very nice. Thank you for your input on that. We actually have a question from Norphirus. Now, this one is actually in the chat box. So you guys, once again, I'm going to stress this. If you have any questions regarding this topic, please leave them in the Q&A box because they can get lost pretty easily in the chat box. But since it's there, let's read it. So the question is, jumping into the AI bandwagon can mean huge initial investment. Henceforth, how should mother and pop businesses be able to stay ahead of its marketing game, especially in the current situation, while still keeping costs manageable?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question. And I don't think it's essential for everyone to jump on the AI bandwagon right away, right? There are a lot of things for small organizations that you can change in the way you interact with your customers. And apart from personalization, it's about ensuring, first of all, have a look. Am I relevant, right? Is the content that I'm providing my customers, even if it is email marketing, right? Is it something that is relevant? Am I reaching out to them on a regular basis? And frankly, even about AI, I will tell you, it's just a matter of time, right? AI is a piece of technology. And technology, the more people use it, it becomes cheaper, and it is becoming cheaper. I think the effort that is involved is in the optimization, because AI requires quite a bit of data to be able to optimize, fine tune, and get it right. But what I'm saying is there is a lot more that can be done even without that investment. ensuring your content is right, ensuring you are doing the right customer segmentation. And that's why I say relevance. The other thing is also looking at your own product set, right? Are my products truly adding value to my customers? Is there something that I can differentiate myself versus the mom and pop shop next door? If you look at SMEs, right? SMEs are, okay, I wouldn't call them some of them are mom and pop shops, maybe the micro SMEs, but SMEs have, for a long time, while in some countries they make up almost 95% of a country's GDP, right? They are the engine of a country's economy. They have been very reluctant and resistant to using digital channels. But now they are having to leverage digital because their consumers do not want to interact physically. And these SMEs are now going step by step with little changes. They're making sure that they're able to reach out to their customers by email. They're making sure their content is becoming more relevant. They are making sure they're able to provide product sets which make sense to their customers. They are engaging in partnerships with other partners where they can provide end-to-end experiences. And trust me, AI is going to come as well. Technology is just, exploding. It will become cheaper. However, yes, you will need collection of data because you want to make sure that you're providing the AI or the code, your algorithm is learning based on, the right set of data and the right set of inputs.
And I think just to add on to that, in terms of the learning for the AI, I think there is no one right answer to it. I think a lot of it is a lot of experimenting, and it's a lot of changing as you go along. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So a lot of test and learn.
Sorry, you're going to say?
I said, so a lot of test and learn,
Yes.
and optimization. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we have time for one or two more questions here. This one is from Yong Eng. Now, Yong Eng's question is, what customers say, what they do, and what they say they do are entirely different. How can we improve on these data empirical evidence collection in order for the user experience to be more relevant and integrated?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, Yong, and I love your question. I totally agree with you, and that's why it is so important. If you remember, when I talked about the prudential experience, where we went in and we did micro segmentation of our customers, right? And there were surveys which were sent out to them to collect data, but at the same time, we didn't rely on that alone. Because you're right, and it's not just customers. It's the same thing is true for us. What we say versus what we actually do can be pretty different. So then you take the opportunity to look at the kind of interactions they've actually had with you. And when you look at, external data providers like Experian, you have Experian, you have Mosaic, you have quite a few really good data providers. Who provide you with anonymized data, right? And you can look at similar demographics or segmentation types that you are focused on and be able to match characteristics and behavior patterns. What are their likes? What are their dislikes? And that helps you build a richer understanding of these micro segments. So you're not relying just on what they say. You're also relying on what they actually do. Right? And once you have that in place and you build your proposition, you then have the opportunity to put it in place. And we've always done this before we launched a product or before we launched an experience. We would get customers to come in either virtually or physically and go through the experience. And you have the opportunity to see, it's very important that when these things are done, customer is given a feeling that they're not being watched, right? We tell them that just go ahead, play with it, and tell us what your feedback is. But we will record your interaction just so that we can learn better. And we would always then map what they shared with us versus how they'd actually interacted. And we'd go back and forth and play things. So there are quite a few techniques that you can use to bring a sensible balance between what customers do and what they actually say. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. All right, we can do one more question. I love the questions that are coming. They're so good. You guys keep them up for the rest of the day because this is amazing. And this question is, how to make sure we can communicate well with our clients, but not make them feel bad?
Ah, okay. Another beautiful question. And I'll tell you, after moving from banking to insurance, that was the shocker I got. And this is, insurance companies do a fantastic job, but huge opportunity to improve. A lot of the communication that historically insurance companies have sent to their customers has been, it can be quite intimidating. Hey, if you don't, there was never a hey, but if you do not pay up your premium on time, your policy will be terminated. Okay, so as strict as that. So that was another initiative where at Prue we went in and revamped the entire customer communication. So one is, of course, the medium through which it was being sent, which was paper, moving that onto digital. But at the same time, the tone, what is it that I'm trying to communicate, right? How much of it is CYA versus providing actual customer value, right? Of course, as financial institutions, we are very, very cognizant of the fact that we have to follow regulation. There are legal requirements, and regulators also put these in place to safeguard the customer's interest. So there's no doubts about that. You have to follow regulation, but you can be human, right? We're all human. And we need those interactions to make sense. The communication, so we went through not just looking at the experience flow of how you communicate, but what is the tonality? How am I coming across to you? If it was a younger segment, we tried to keep the tonality a little bit more, sorry, these screens are popping up. Okay, but tonality a little bit more upbeat and energetic. And the younger generation is more happy to have a casual conversation. And depending on, more the demographic, if it was an older generation, it was a little bit more formal, but still keeping it relevant, keeping it friendly, very important, because everyone wants to be talked to in a friendly way. There's no two things about it. So I would say keeping these things in mind is very important. But apart from that, I think one of the biggest challenges we faced, and like I mentioned before, we really had to just revamp the entire system. It was legacy system, right? And you're trying to create an experience that is smooth, that comes through on a phone, that comes through on a tablet. And this is not your mundane paper letters. So there are quite a few aspects that you need to look at, but absolutely worth it. And customers love it. They love, and they find that change refreshing. Oh, wow, my insurer is talking to me really nicely.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think about the tonality, a lot of miscommunication happens because of the way that the tone is structured. So I think the fact that you brought that up, I think it will be helping a lot of people here today. But Namrata, unfortunately, we have to wrap up our session here today. That's all the time we have for. I'm kind of annoyed because I loved your presentation so much, and I thought you spoke so eloquently about something that was so interesting. So from all of us here at Exabyte Singapore, thank you so much for making our day here at the Singapore Marketing Fest 2020.
Thank you. My pleasure. See you guys.
We hope to see you soon again.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.